be an addendum to the press cubicle number 1 that I created, which will go a bit more in depth into what I mentioned in terms of Dota 2. There was a recent update to Dota 2 which changed how the reporting system worked. So before, you could report anybody, you could report as often as you like for any sort of misconduct in game. And if there was any action taken against them, they'd be put in the low priority queue. So this would be with anybody else who got put there for bad behavior or were abandoning games, just leaving before, just starting a game and then leaving in the middle. And you'd have a longer queue time and you get to play with the worst people who act out and disconnect and all that. So that was okay, but you didn't get a whole lot of action done. You had to be really doing something wrong to get called out on it. Now there was a recent update to change how that was handled. Instead of, there used to be both separate report categories for text abuse and voice abuse. Now they're combined into one called communication abuse. And if you get action taken against you for communication abuse, you won't get placed into the low priority queue. You'll be muted. The game will mute you for a period of time, so you are not able to say anything to your teammates. So this effectively solves the problem. They can't start flaming their teammates anymore, which is why they got reported in the first place. Now, there's been a hilarious backlash to this because, remember, Dota is a notoriously awful community. The people there aren't the nicest people. They're going to be insulting and hateful and all manner of awful. So the thing is, what has happened since this update, there are limited number of reports that you can submit per week, which I don't actually like. But between that and it just being a mute, Valve is now able to take a lot more action. So you have a lot more people having action taken against them for misconduct in game. If you're insulting your teammates, you get reported, you're probably going to get muted now. And this is absolutely fantastic. This is the best thing that could possibly happen to Dota 2. Bar none, this is the single best thing that could happen to the game because it's something that improves the experience for the majority of players and actually is designed in a way to curb behavior. So it's probably not worth it for someone, for example, to create a new account every time they get muted. Like, that's not going to be worthwhile. But at the same time, they're having action taken against them. If they learn, then fantastic. Now they can actually be a useful member of the community. You can actually be in the game and be nice. That's great. But if they don't learn, they'll just keep getting muted. And that's fine too. Now we don't have to deal with them. So what's been hilarious about the backlash is there's just more people saying, well, I got muted and I did nothing wrong, which I don't buy. I haven't gotten to play a whole lot during the period since this has been implemented, so I guess I'll see if I suddenly get muted for some reason that doesn't make any sense. But I largely think the people actually complaining have been mistreating people for so long they don't even realize they're doing it. And it's not even just the people who try and say that they've done nothing wrong, but there's people suggesting, oh, well, there's already a mute button. This is unnecessary. Well, that means we have to listen to your crap for long enough for us to bother to mute you, and that's every person in each game. So if he does that, 5 people have to put up with it. Well, 4 other people have to put up with them until you mute them. 9 if you count the other team. The worst one is probably We need communication in Dota 2. It's a team game, which, well, it makes sense. It doesn't make sense if the person is insulting their team and the opposing team. That's not useful communication. That's actually harmful. If you're insulting your team, I I don't have a study that has done this, but quite frankly, I could pretty much guarantee if you could set up a study where someone played equally well in two sets of games, let's say three sets of games, one where he communicated usefully and was supportive and positive, one where he said nothing at all, and one where he was insulting his teammates and calling people out throughout the game, I guarantee you he'd have a worse win rate in the latter, the one where he's insulting people. You're going to make your chances of winning worse by having somebody bring down the morale of the team. So, do you need communication? Only if it's positive. If it's not positive, then you're actually hurting the team. I also think that people are grossly overestimating the effectiveness of the actual complication of communication in a matchmaking game of Dota 2. When you have a properly organized team of 5, yeah, there's a lot of specifics that go into it. But when you're going into a general matchmaking game where you have a disparate group of randomly assigned people, quite frankly, all you need are pings and maybe a missing call, occasionally saying back or going to Roshan, but there really isn't much to it the vast majority of the time, and I really don't buy that argument either. If somebody's getting muted because they're insulting their teammates, that's a good thing. A good thing for the people who don't have to hear him, a good thing for the future of the community, for curbing behavior or shutting these people up. And it's a good thing for the people who are getting muted, because if they actually learn to behave in a way that's acceptable for other people, as opposed to acting in a manner that you would never do face to someone, that's good for their own behavior too, because it's not only going to make them get along with people better, it's probably going to make them feel better when playing as well, because it's only going to make you feel worse if you're angry all the time at other people when you really shouldn't be. So you know what? As it is, I am all for this. This is the best thing I've seen come out of Dota 2. Haters gonna